Up next on Speak to That, Kaufman County District Attorney Early Wiley and Attorney Erin Wiley speak on her new book, A Target on My Back.
Hello and welcome to this segment of Speak to That, where we give
hope to the hopeless,
help to the helpless,
and faith to the faithless. Oh my God, we are in for a treat today.
Yes, treat.
I tell you, we talking murder.
Oh.
We're talking mystery. We talking suspect. We talking handcuffs, lockup, everything. Because you know what? We have Early Wiley. She is the criminal district attorney of Kaufman County. And she's a former judge. You know how scared I am right now? And so with her, she brought her husband, who was also an attorney. Can you say clean, clean? I'm scared. Anyway, he is a partner of Lackey Hirschman. And I tell you, we have a story for you today. She is an author of A Target on My Back, speaking to one of the first African-American criminal district attorney in Texas. We're speaking to Early Wiley. Arlie, I want you to talk to me about, first of all, this book. Like, you had to really been going through something. Something had to really inspire that I have to tell my story. I mean, this is too deep to just keep it. I'm sure you probably was writing it down and wondering, oh my God, what could happen? I want people to know what this strong woman
yes, she is strong.
went through.
A Target on My Back. It was written to share with people what happened because we see ourselves as regular, everyday people, took on the task of doing this, the appointment. But other people can't believe that I took the job not knowing that I was going to be a target.
Wow.
So that I took the job like I was I was a county judge, and then I became a district, which is a state criminal district attorney. So at the time, I didn't know. Now my husband's going to chime in and say he knew. The guy that committed the murders, I had dealt with him as a judge. So I wanted to write the book to share with people, hey, this is what can happen. It's also an interesting story, I think, because it's real people, family. The kids were still in high school, how we dealt with the security detail, how the crime was solved, and how that impacted our life. Because I'm a woman. I'm still taking kids to school. I'm still getting kids to practice. I'm still cooking dinner with walking over security details. So I thought that was interesting, not only because of the crime that happened, but how we as women deal with that. And of course, African American women put another dynamic. You keep going. Yeah. So I think that was the motivation to share my story for other women, because we have a lot of heroines. We have a lot of people doing stuff a lot harder than what I did. It's just this was a little bit more known, and we are coming up on the 5-year anniversary of the murders because it happened in 2013.
So if if the viewers are watching and they're trying to figure out what's going on, what happened in Kaufman, could you say a brief synopsis about what took place?
Sure, and help me here, honey. What happened is in January of 2013, that's how we're getting to the 5-year anniversary, the criminal chief at the district attorney's office was walking to his car, and he was gunned down less than 200 yards away. It was mayhem. I mean, imagine what that's like. You're going to work, Kaufman County, and we were talked, earlier, that area.
Right.
It's a rural area. It's growing because it's close to Dallas, but you feel safe jumping out of your car. He was gunned down by a masked assailant. It was crazy. People wanted to have that crime solved. The elected DA was obviously still alive because it was his chief criminal person that was killed. But then...
Yeah, one of the things that actually made it confusing is at the same time that was in January, in December, there was a letter that was intercepted by the Department of Public Safety. And it was from the Aryan Brotherhood. And it essentially said that the race war is starting and we're going to start taking out elected officials. Now, that came out in December. the same day that Mark Hasse was gunned down, there was a press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District, and that would be Houston,
Okay.
that said that we want to thank our cooperators or other law enforcement agencies for helping us bring these folks to justice, these lieutenants in the Aryan Brotherhood. And among the folks that they thanked
was Mark Hasse from Kaufman County. So why that's important is law enforcement went down that trail. Okay, so that's how they got off the trail. At the time, it seemed really reasonable. But what we know from law enforcement, Aaron was in law enforcement 22 years, and he just resigned being in private practice. He was a DA and a federal prosecutor. So that he knew about that email because it was generated in and around his office. It was Southern District, but the U.S. Attorney's Office. Is that that's not like the Aryan Brotherhood. Their strength is in prison. Once they get out of prison, they're not as well organized. But then the unthinkable happened. The date is March 31st, but I think the murder actually happened on the 30th. It was the eve of April 1st, which was that Easter 5 years ago, which I think Easter is April 1st this year too. And on that day, Mike McClellan, the elected DA, and his wife were killed at their home, which you know how horrible that was. And I'll say without bothering your viewers, it was a horrific murder scene because it was up close and personal.
Wow.
And to back all that up, the person that committed the murder, because we could go through, but I want people to buy my book, is that we get to the end as the person that committed the murder was a justice of the peace. He was a lawyer. He was upstanding in the community. And when he became JP, he stole some equipment from the county. And he stole the equipment. It was on video, and so he was prosecuted. And because he was prosecuted, he wanted to kill DAs. Now you might ask, why was he mad at me later on? Is because he was always a little strange, and he was also stealing, and I was a judge on his pay sheets to get paid. And I had a nice conversation with him, said we're not doing it that way because I'm the judge and I'm not signing off on pay vouchers that are overpay. So when he started taking out his enemies, I made the list.
Wow. So didn't make the list.
I did make the list.
Made the list, but didn't make the list.
I made the list. I didn't get killed. So we caught him somewhere after that.
Oh my God.
So during your experience of being appointed as DA during that investigation, how was that? Like, how was your everyday life?
That's a good question because it was not as glamorous as you think it would be,
Right.
because two boys, they're at home, Aaron and I going to the grocery store. So maybe I should back up.
Okay.
They came into our home once they told us that we were having the detail, and that's after there were 3 people killed and they didn't know who was next, and they believed it could have been any elected official. Then once that happened, I was told I was assigned Homeland Security. I'm embarrassed to say, I believe they gave me a piece of paper, which I didn't read because I'm a lawyer, said that they could spy on me, I think. And the next thing I know, I go to my house. We got people on the roof. You got a perimeter set up. My neighbors were out in the yard. Trackers in the cars. It really was something like off of CSI.
Wow.
And then they staged in our home, in our dining room, because that's where you could see all 3 doors. And they staged, and they were with us 24 hours.
Motion detectors in the yard.
Motion detector in the yard.
Wow.
They took 3 shifts. The heavy shift was at night. And I'm not good at knowing caliber of guns, but at night it was crazy. So it changed our lives.
Right.
Because they were totally with us. Baseball season. I mean, these guys in Hawaiian shirts trying to look like they don't have guns. With the earpieces. Going to the grocery store. 'Cause I'm a girl. I'm doing all the stuff that we do.
You were still doing CrossFit back then.
I was doing CrossFit. No, I don't know. I was at a road. I was in something. They were a church in the back.
Wow. So wherever you went, they were there.
They were with me. Now they were with me, not my family.
They were with her, not necessarily with us. In fact, at some point, the youngest boy, who doesn't like change at all, he woke up in the morning and he's like, "Where are the guys?" Because now he's liking them.
Yeah, he's pretty cool now.
And I said, "Well, they're with your mom. They went to the baseball game." It's like, "Well, they're not guarding us." Like, no. It's like, "Well, why'd they leave the back door open?"
So it was a change. I will say I realized you know, we have a lot of bad news about law enforcement, but the level of professionalism We got a little more comfortable with each other since they honed in on who did it. About 2 weeks into the detail, they kind of loosened up, but initially they didn't have a suspect. In fact, they were bouncing between, as Aaron pointed out, the Aryan Brotherhood. There was some thought that it could have been the Mexican cartel at one point. That was another theory, but it kept coming back to, what do these two main Kaufman County DAs have in common? What cases? That's a common thing. What cases have they tried? Who would want them both?
Yeah. One of the things that also, again, threw them off, again, for some people, because it was on the desk of the folks in Washington.
And what he means on the desk in Washington is this had
Eric
got,
Holder.
this had got to Eric Holder's attention, because now you've had 2 law enforcement people killed in Texas. You can't have that. I mean, you can't kill law enforcement. I mean, judges, district attorneys for doing their job. I mean, we'll have anarchy.
Right.
So I interrupted you. Were
No,
saying.
you're fine. Is that some people may remember that there was a prison warden that was in Colorado, and he was executed at his front door. Now, that was that person that they identified later was a spinoff of the Aryan Brotherhood. And he was actually killed when he got stopped in Texas in what was just a speed trap.
Oh.
And when the officer came to the window to talk about, why are you speeding in this Cadillac Escalade, he shot him.
Right.
Yeah, you
And
kind of
then-
remember.
I remember that.
And then he just went speeding down the road, and of course he ended up dying in a fireball. But here's the difference to the uninitiated and the initiated. For some people, that meant that it was absolutely the Aryan Brotherhood. But for other people, they got it. That's how the Aryan Brotherhood kills people. Is the pizza box that the guy used was still in the car. He killed a pizza guy to get the pizza box and the pizza hat to go to the warden's door. And then he dies in a fireball 3 days later.
So we're saying we don't think they're smart enough to carry off the execution.
Yeah, because that had been
what he's
going on
saying.
for months, and nobody had a clue. And as a federal prosecutor, I tried Aryan Brotherhood people. And at the end of the day, if you had 5 Aryan Brotherhood people sitting at a table, 4 of them were snitches. And so if you put that much money on the table and you didn't hear anything, it's a risky proposition to think it, but intellectually, to be intellectually honest, you have to know it can't be them.
But y'all, he's saying all that so he can say that he knew. He knew. So go ahead, just put that out there. That was a long explanation to you knew.
I knew.
Right, that's what he's
Who
trying
had
to say,
done it?
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So did this trial, did this hurt your marriage in any type of way?
Yeah, because
Because
for a minute there, when the opportunity to be the district attorney came up, I certainly encouraged her to do it because she wouldn't believe what I was saying. However, and I knew how the
They
federal
don't know
government.
what you mean.
I know how the
believe
federal.
us.
Yeah, I know how the federal government works. We have a security detail now. They reevaluate every 21 days. If they don't get this person, eventually they're going to go back to a regular state, and they're going to pull the detail, and now you're unprotected when that person is still out there. I thought that it would be a better thing if you take the job as a district attorney. One, the state has an interest in maintaining your safety, besides just your worried husband. And additionally, as a district attorney, you have investigators, and those investigators carry guns.
Okay, so Aaron knew the job I was supposed to get as well as knew the suspect. So the whole, he knew
Just
it all.
a smart man.
Just a
huh?
smart man. So he always felt, and until later we found out, that the murderer had a beef, that it was something to take that money away from him as a judge or correct him for his bad behavior. And so was it marriage problems? We never really had problems, but I will tell you, you get a little weird when people start dying. So when I come home and I said, the judges, we are going to talk to people because the governor's office really wants us to be with one voice, Aaron says, you should think about that appointment. And so, of course, because 3 people were dead, I'm like, you got a reason to kill me. So, yeah, we had a little bit. It's like, what's up with that?
Right. Yeah. So y'all being married is awesome. It seemed like to me you guys work well together. It's beautiful to be, in it together. But now, You donated a kidney
I know.
to your.
I know.
How was that? That is.
It was accidental. No. No. Aaron had a kidney disease, and I happened to be a match.
Wow.
And once they figured it out, I couldn't say no. No. I was glad to do it. He has been transplanted for 10 years, which is a miracle because kidneys don't always last that long. So he's a blessing.
So you was hope, help, and faith.
I was. And
all of it.
you know what? We've been blessed.
Yes.
We've been
Praise
blessed.
God. So y'all are one. Really, really one.
We are really, really one.
Her brother said that. She said,
Yeah.
now you're really family.
Yeah.
There you are.
They're
Huh?
one.
It was when we went through that, he healed well and I healed well, and I'm glad it's been a blessing for us.
Amen.
Oh my God, they have been a blessing to me. I'm telling you, scary, scary experience. How can these people get this book? Because they need to read it.
Thank you. This book is at Barnes & Noble local, but it's also on Amazon. If you don't want to get out, you can get it on Amazon.
There you go.
You can download it and read it on your Kindle or whatever your device is. So we've got all that for you. Thank you for
Target?
asking.
A
A
target?
target on my back.
Target on my
Oh
back.
my God.
Thank you.
Did you come up with
Huh?
the title?
Tomb.
Tomb. T-O-M-B. He thinks the acronyms are interesting. A
Oh.
target on my back.
Did you come up with the title?
You know what? We had a very similar title, and
Okay.
our editors at Skyhorse said I didn't like the word we had another word in there, but it was always on my back, and I was like, so we played with it back and forth. It was always that, and the emblem of the gun was always there. So I can't take total credit.
Okay.
We played with words.
Tomb,
Tomb, look at him,
I
creepy.
like the way you see that.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Right.
But okay, you know, we have truly enjoyed you guys.
Yes, we have.
love the
Yeah.
spirit. We love the support. We see the love. We love the humor and all
Dressing
that.
alike.
So how is it that attorney from South Central LA hook up with this gorgeous woman over here,
In the little country
criminal district attorney over here in Kaufman, Texas?
Kaufman,
How you
country town.
find her?
Everything is big.
Well, she actually called me on the phone.
I knew he was going to say that.
I did not know who she was, although we should have known each other because we actually had crossed paths at the district attorney's office. And she called me for a blind date.
Blind.
I was blind. I was over the phone. But I did do some checking with friends. I said, is he cute? And they said, yeah, all right.
So see,
He's all right. I
Learn
should
that
use grammar. The
so
whole
you
word.
stepped out.
I did. I stepped out.
Wow.
I needed a date, and I was going to ask a girlfriend, and my friend that said, we've got some tickets, it's going to be a foursome. She kind of knew. She said, and don't ask no girl. You got to find you a man to go. I was single at the time. So I did.
Okay.
And I asked him, and he said yes.
charge.
Yeah.
All right then.
I did. And I mean, and he really did do the rest because I really was not pursuing anybody.
I had no idea that date that was at American Airlines would land me in Kaufman, Texas.
I was still complaining.
There are more cows than there are people out
Oh,
there.
God.
And
Stop
to a
it.
kidney.
And took
See,
girl.
that's most of
Get
his life.
back there.
There
Get back
That was
there.
life.
Get back there.
So thinking not strong.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. There
It
you
led
go.
you to
That
your
you that she
kids.
spoke.
But
that.
but I will tell you, you guys have been so generous of your time and make it seem like I've done something really great. But I'll tell you this. I took a really, seems like a difficult step, but every one of us, men and women, but I'm really kind of speaking to the ladies, we take small steps every day for our kids, for our church communities, for our family, think about our in-laws and our mothers and parents we're taking care of. So I would just encourage you to step out there because I took a step and it landed me into a wonderful job. I had no idea the book would come, and I would just say for all of you that there is something God's calling you to do, and you need to just step out there. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, you do?
Awesome.
Thank you. That's how I
Awesome.
feel.
That's good.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
God.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for
Yes,
coming. We
thank
you for
enjoyed
talking
you.
to us.
I hope you enjoyed this segment because it was awesome.
Yes, it was.
And on Speak to That, we thank you because we give
Hope to the hopeless, help to the helpless.
and
Thank you.
faith to the faithless.
Hey, helpless. Speak to that. No food, rent, you hopeless. Speak to that. I lost my man too. Faithless. Speak to that. I need answers now. Speak to that. Speak to that. Speak to that. Speak to that.